Well, I think these are very serious allegations. I said yesterday, and I laid out clearly the investigation that we're doing. But I wanted to echo Alex's words that I thought were extremely well put, which is, I think we just can't be complacent. And this is not an issue that can be just put down as wholly historic, if I'm honest. I think there's industries where you have this, and we've talked about it, and I think this is an important and healthy dialogue to have around these deep imbalances of power. Often I think in reflecting on this, because you think about all these things, is these high adrenaline environments where you've got a production going on, or you might be, and we've had stories of operating theatres or trading rooms. I think there's a deep responsibility for the leaders now. And we've been at it for a while here. And I'm proud of the progress, but to really constantly be doing a few things. Firstly, setting clear process. So you have very, very rigorous support at work systems, you have whistleblowing process, that has to be flawless.
Well, what about
But you also
culture?
have to set the culture. That's where you're exactly right.
Process is one thing.
And I've never been someone that says, often in these crises, and I've dealt with a few bits and pieces in the BBC, is
a few.
Often you can run to process. And the process needs to be there, but more importantly, the process needs to be trusted, and the culture needs to be one of trust. And you have to, I've spent a lot of time since I took this job. What are our values? What are the code of conduct? What's an acceptable way of behaving? I talk a lot actually about, I've actually had a lot of response on this in terms of kindness, the ability to listen to people, to treat people with respect. And there has been deep problems with misogyny, abuse of power, and we just have to be utterly vigilant, be unaccepting of it, and create a culture in which, I think this is really important as well, that where there's a trust that bringing information forward is treated very seriously. And I think our record is we will go out at things in recent years and will be very transparent. There's never a sense that we want to cover anything.
Okay, so it's about leadership, as you say, as well, not just process. Process has to be clear.
Totally.
It's about leadership. You were the director of audio in 2008 when Russell Brand was just sort of ending his tenure at Radio 4. It was all around this.
Radio 2.
Radio 2, sorry.
Yeah.
It was all around the Soxgate thing, and that was why he resigned. That's why Leslie Douglas left the stage.
Correct.
You were there. Looking back now, why wasn't more done? It seemed, according to the investigation in the Times and Channel 4, it was an open secret that he had,
well, I think to be fair
views towards women.
To be fair, when I arrived on the scene, I was there for a few weeks and that hit. And I think if you read, by the way, it's online, you can read that Soxgate review. It's a rigorous piece of work on what happened on the editorial breach. And, to be fair, that led to significant departures, and I think...
But there was more going on, and it wasn't followed up on.
Well, I think in some ways we dealt with the huge issue we had in front of us. With hindsight, you can always, reflect on, maybe there could have been things that you can look at, but I think we did a good job on that review and did the right work.
So you don't regret that more wasn't done at the time?
I always look back with hindsight when you hear things coming out and you go, could you have done more? Could you have asked more? We're all asking those questions. Could you have done more? Of course you ask those questions.
It's still a problem now, as you say, so more has to be done.
Well, no, I am proud of our culture. When I go around the BBC, we're having very, I think, profound conversations, and we have been for years now in terms of saying, are we getting it right in terms of ensuring there is no abuses of power, that people behave flawlessly in terms of respect to each other, kindness.
Yeah, but you have ongoing investigations now. You've got Hugh Edwards, you've got Tim, there's other...
That's why I say you can't be complacent.
Okay.
We've got to be careful we don't prejudge all these investigations.
That's true.
I say that with caution because my instinct is that there are significant problems. But it's a judgment here. I think what I've seen is significant progress. But I think, as was said at the beginning, and I think everyone in the industry, we've got the people in the room that can make this happen, is we've all got to be committed to change. And that is the right thing to do, and we need to get on with it.
One last question on this. Have you ruled out any kind of external review on this? You're doing it as an internal.
I haven't ruled out anything. I think it's the right approach and proportion at this point to get a serious internal review led by Peter Johnson, who's an excellent and senior leader with great experience in this area. I would say to everyone, as others have done, if you've got any information, come forward to the BBC. And we'll be
but you haven't
fully
ruled out an
transparent.
external review?
I would never. I mean,
Okay.
I don't rule out anything. I just want to go and get the facts.